My guest today is Salma Sarawary, Director of Business Development at a small company here in San Diego. Salma and I worked in the same company and even worked on the same project for some time. That's why this interview was more of a fireside chat. Born in Afghanistan, she migrated to the States with her big family. While her challenges as a woman and mother raised in the Middle Eastern culture was very familiar to me, her story of migration was unimaginable and painful. Despite her struggles, she successfully integrated into the culture and even has few tips for us as parents. So grab your cup of tea and join me in this episode of Empowering Conversations. Hello and welcome to the Empowering Conversations podcast, a place to get inspired, challenged, and empowered by stories of immigrants who build their success from zero. I'm your host, Mehran. Hi, Salma Jan. Thank you for having me over. It's truly an honor to be talking with you as you are going to share your immigration story with us today.
It's absolutely my pleasure, Mehran John, and thanks for giving me this opportunity.
How was it like to immigrate, and what did you have to go through?
Yeah, so with an unfortunate situation with the Soviet invasion in Afghanistan, so I had to be smuggled out of the country to go to Pakistan. And we lived in Islamabad, in the capital of Pakistan, for 11 months. In 1985, then we immigrated here in the U.S. When we left Afghanistan, like I said, we smuggled out of the country. Not leave the country, be smuggled out of the country. And it took us like 7 days and nights. We got caught, and then we were going to be sent back to Kabul to be imprisoned and all of that. That's a huge story, and I don't think that I'll be able to cover the whole story here, because that by itself was very scary. It was very, very scary, because one part of that, which is when I say traumatized, the trauma was that when we were leaving to go toward the border of Pakistan, and after we got released from the government, when we got caught, and then at one point it was at night, in the middle of the night, and now we're in the back of the truck. It's like a pickup truck. The car was going so fast with this unpaved street, and all the dirt was just basically blowing up on us. Dogs were barking, the noises from howling of animals coming from everywhere. With us, there was this guy that he was in excruciating pain. I don't remember who, maybe my mom or somebody just start knocking for the drivers to get his attention, because this guy was moaning of pain. So all of a sudden the driver just stopped the car, and he came and he looked at him that he was in pain. He was just crying out of pain. And what he did was he just grabbed that big guy and he lifted him up with the help of the other guys, and he threw him on the street, and he just went back to the car and he started driving. So he literally threw that guy out of the car and left him off the street. We saw dogs were coming, chasing. And imagine a child would be seeing something like that.
Wow, that must have been really hard, and I'm sure you're only sharing part of the story.
This is only one night out of the 7 nights.
You have gone through so much to have immigrated here, and there's a lot of courage that I'm sure emanated from all those experiences. But no doubt that this has been really difficult for you as a 12-year-old kid to see that and to have experienced that.
We were very fortunate that my 2 older brothers were already here in the state of Virginia, and I was between 12, 13 when I came here in the state. They had a 2-bedroom condo at the time living, and then there was seven of us joining them. So now,
oh wow, that was 9 of you.
Now it was 9 of us to share a 2-bedroom condo.
Did they even allow that?
No, but we had no choice,
Yes.
right? I don't think the landlord, knew that we were coming to join them. But, again, these are like the unfortunate situation that you would have to have a place to live, right? And at the time, also my brothers, they were immigrant themselves, and they were working like 2, 3 jobs to be able to like make a living and also going to school at the same time.
What were some of the challenges besides living in a very small house?
So the biggest challenge for me as, being a teenager now that I have to start school. And when I started school, I started from middle school. As everybody knows, that's the toughest age and the toughest school year for anyone. The challenge here was that I did not speak any English, not even one word of English. And I remember that when I started school, I had 2 ESL classes, and I had an art class and a geography class and a math class and PE. And the hardest class for me was my art class. In my art class, there was projects. And I did not understand any of the projects. I was assigned like that we had to bring materials now to the projects. And I had no idea where to buy the material and what those materials are. But my next hardest class, which was even harder than my art class, guess what? It was PE.
Oh, why?
I was asked to wear shorts and t-shirt in PE. I've never worn shorts in my life, right? And it was something that it was unacceptable for girls to be wearing shorts. And so what I did was like I hid my shorts in my locker room. I didn't want to take it home. I went to my teacher and I told my PE teacher that I cannot wear shorts. And he told me that I have to bring a notes from my parents. And then I couldn't like tell my my family that they have to give me a notes. So now what I had to do was like just hide the shorts in my locker room. But I couldn't bring it home to wash it.
Oh, that must have been really difficult. Were there any times that you were bullied because of the shorts or anything PE related?
One time I was in my locker room and then this girl aggressively came and pressed me against my locker. She asked me that why do I have staring problem? It's not that I stared at them because she asked me a question and I didn't know what to answer because I didn't know what to say just because I didn't know what she was asking me, right? Because I didn't speak any English. I didn't understand her at all. School was getting like very difficult for me as I had like a dream of coming to continue school. But here I was getting a little bit discouraged about like, the culture shock plus, now being like almost beaten by a girl in a locker room. And now like I couldn't integrate with the, schoolmates, with classmates because I was different. I wasn't able to speak. I wasn't able to wear, or I wasn't able to be one of them. As the year passed, and then I was able to speak a little, English, and now able to converse and like communicate and do well in my classroom and my classes. And there was like, a couple of friends that they helped me out a lot. I'm leaving my friends behind now and now moving to California. So when I came to California and I started off again from the second semester of my freshman year, that was another challenge for me. It's just because now I'm in a different state, different environment, different school systems. First thing that I did was like I went to a school counselor and then she asked me what my goal is. What do I want? The first thing I said, and I told her, and I said, I want to go to university. And she said that, okay, let me, like see what I can do to guide you. And she saw that I was like, still like taking ESL classes. She said, based on what she's looking, I would be lucky if I would graduate from high school and get a diploma. And then I said, no, I want to go to university. So then she started like mapping out like, the classes that I would have to take for high school graduation. And then I was like, keep insisting. And I said, no, give me the requirements where I could go to university. And she was like, okay, but you have to first focus on graduating. And I said, yes, but let me know what I can do to go from high school to university. I basically had left no choice for her than like to just let me know, what I could do. And then, so I only had like now my sophomore year and my junior year to be able to work toward all the requirements. Within these 2 years, she had listed all the requirements, including take an examination for ACT and SAT and all of that. So she told me that here it is. I mean, mockingly, jokingly, and sarcastically, she handed me a piece of paper that she had written down all the requirements. Within that 2 years, I have took every classes that were required to put application applying for, college or university. I went to the same counselor and I said, look, I have done everything that you have told me, and now I'm here to apply. So when she looked through my transcript and she just looked at me and she said, I'm sorry to tell you, not only that you're not able to apply for university, but you are not able to graduate because you haven't met the requirement to graduate from high school.
Wow.
I said, I thought that you mapped it out. She said, well, we didn't talk about foreign language. What are you talking about, like foreign language? I'm a foreigner. English is my second language. And, Dari Farsi is my language, my first language. She goes, yeah, but that's not an acceptable curriculum language. We can't accept that.
You've done all those things
Yeah.
when English was your second language. I mean, just for people that don't know what ESL is English as second language. You needed to learn the third language.
Exactly. When she saw me crying, and actually she felt really bad, she said, look, there is 0.0001% chance for you. And it's I don't know that if it's going to work out, but let's try it. She goes, let's just petition. She called the district and she told, she explained my situation. They had like an examiner and he was actually Persian.
Oh.
Yeah, so then he had to examine me orally, written, and also my reading to see that if I'm able to read, write, and speak. He told them that I was way too advanced. So then they just accepted that, and then they just, stamped on my transcript that, it's exceptional. I graduated with presidential award with the highest GPA from my school.
Wow. As you know, most of my clients are immigrants who came to this country one way or the other with big aspirations for their lives. I've heard many stories, but few were as intense as Salma's. Listening to her, I felt grateful for my relatively easy path and was inspired by her determination. Do you know a Salma in your life? If you do, feel free to introduce them to me, because my audience would love to learn about successful, determined immigrants like Salma.
Now, there's a different challenge for my family. They had to be involved and tell me how far of a distance for college that I could apply.
Oh yeah, culturally we like our girls to be very close.
Yes.
Right.
So at the time I was living in Fremont in Bay Area, the only one school that I was allowed to, because it was within my commuting distance, was San Jose State University. And I only applied to San Jose State University and no any other colleges. And imagine the limitation now here. With my dream, after all of that, what if I didn't get accepted there? So I got accepted at San Jose State University with majoring in computer science. In my second year in college, I decided to change my major from computer science to biological science. My professor, he had gotten fund from NASA to do the research, and I was lucky enough to be only the 2 undergrad students in the research. And then the research, and it just caught my interest a lot.
Were you also working at the time?
No, actually, they were not letting me to work. I couldn't have a job till like when I was in college, like throughout my high school. And for them, it's just like girls working, that kind of thing. It was
Yes, it's a
cultural, yeah.
Yes, you seem like somebody that was very driven and you always got what you wanted. Was there any instance that you gave up and you said, you know what, I can't do this? Has that ever happened to you?
No. It's just that giving up, it wasn't something that I ever thought about. I wanted to, reach out to my goal. And I had a goal. And this was like ever since I put my foot in the, here in the state, and I knew that there was opportunity, with one sentence that I knew, like going to my counselor, and I said, I want to go to university. I want to go to university.
I really like that part where, she kept saying, no, you can't. Let's focus on getting you graduated. And you kept saying, no, I want to go to the university.
Yeah.
And that's...
I could have given up at that time.
There were many instances you could have given up. And I think that's the case for many of us, right? There are many options, many easier options that we could give up. But, it seems like you are someone that didn't, and you always kept that focus. You had a goal, and you kept that focus, and you kept going.
Right. So, yeah.
Which is, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but which is quite admirable, being a woman of the culture that doesn't necessarily encourage girls to pursue their dreams.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely, and I agree. And I think that part of this is just because my father passed away when I was 7 years old. And one of the things that he did was he was always writing us poems, and then he would wanted us to recite poetry. And then he would just teach us like hard vocabularies and Farsi. He would tell us find it, figure it, solve it. I feel like he just was trying to give us a message there.
And what do you think that message was?
The message was that you're so capable. You could solve your own problems, and you could search. You could go find. I carried on that. Obviously, there was a lot of encouragement, but it was me, my passion, myself. And I knew what I wanted. At age of 14, I could have been married. And I could have been not go to school at all. Yeah. I had the choice.
When you say you could have been married, we're talking about the culture that is okay for the girl to get married that young.
Before I left the country, at age of 12, I was already asked for marriage. And then when I came to Pakistan, and then again, I was asked to get married. When I came here in Virginia, and then some relatives actually flew all the way from Oklahoma and asked for marriage. And then they even told my family that I shouldn't be going to school because girls in the United States, when they go to school, they would be talking to boys, and then they would be kissing boys, they would be hugging boys. And this was culturally unacceptable. And then obviously, my family, they knew this was something that I wanted so badly rather than anything else in my life. They supported. Obviously, I never listened to them.
Can you imagine what could become of Salma had she married in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, or even in the States before she turned 14? Would she be this vibrant, successful woman she is today? No one would know. But the attitude that sets Salma apart from many women of her culture is her thirst for knowledge, her determination, and her courage for taking risks.
Ever since I was a child, the time when I started to get to know myself and my capabilities and how good I did or how much good I could do, I've always raised the bar and wanted to reach higher. And then if I would reach to that step, and now I want to do more. So even throughout my career, I have jumped from company to company and doing different things. I've never stayed to do one thing over in the course of my careers. In one company, if I was doing research with small molecule, then I went to that next company and I was working with big molecules now, but different therapeutic areas. As much as things become difficult to me, then I get motivated.
I see. You like bigger challenges.
Yes. And this way, and then it keeps me moving and it keeps me climbing and it just brings me joy.
But that comes with the cost, right? It's just you need to be constantly busy and you need to be constantly learning, which is something that you say you enjoy.
Well, I see challenge as a mystery, right? Challenge is always a mystery to me. And
I like that.
Because when you're being challenged or when things are unknown or ambiguous, right? And you never know what the outcome would be, right?
That's true.
And then now that once you get to be challenged and then you face upon the outcomes, it could be a failure. And I've never been afraid of failing. Obviously, it's very difficult to stand upon hurdles and failures, and it's hurtful. But for me, I've always take that into my advantage. I feel like if I had failed or if I had challenges, then I had basically opened another door. I've seen something else. Throughout my life, I was not afraid, but of course I was intimidated, but I managed to open doors.
I like that. You were not afraid, but there were times that you were intimidated, but you managed to open a door.
Right.
And that's great, because a lot of times people get afraid and they don't move. But what a lot of us forget is that it's normal to feel intimidated or even be scared of a change or a new challenge. But if you have the mindset of, I'm going to find key to open this door, then that would keep you going. That wouldn't feel like a failure if you cannot open it. You know that you need to search for another key until you'd be able to open it.
But it takes
and
so much strength, right?
It does.
Yeah. I feel like everybody has strength. People have, priority set, and people have passion, choices, and all of that, options.
Yes.
But it all depends. It's at the end of the day, it's up to you what you want and how you want to spend your strength on.
What type of people do you surround yourself with, or are you open to everybody who comes your way?
This is actually a very important question, and I'm glad that you asked. Before I moved to San Diego, I was living in Bay Area, and the people that I was surrounded with was my family, my friends, my family, and the Afghan community. And then ever since I moved to San Diego, that was back in 2005, and now I don't have those people, right? And it gives me now opportunity to make friends. And the friends that I made here was through when my two boys were playing soccer. So now imagine I am being surrounded with 15 families per team, 30 families. And these 30 families are vibrant diversity of multicultural and multinationalities. And this was the beautiful experience for me, that I get to now see different culture, different approach, different values, different beliefs. It just manifests into my belief, into my values, and brought like these openness in my mind that I cannot see things narrowly now. I have to like see an expanded view that the world is not that small. Like where I came from with that community, with everything was just like structured and preferred. But now, and I'm seeing something that is so different, so beautiful from each one of them that I made friend with, and I have learned different approaches, and I became so acceptable. And this also would give you like tolerance, right?
Yes,
So that
absolutely.
you're not going to become judgmental anymore.
Yeah, so basically being inclusive and interacting with all people, getting out of your comfort zone and basically meeting everyone.
I highly recommend that now. I highly encourage my family. I said, like, if you just stay where you belong, you feel like you belong. You feel like you're comfortable. You're never gonna, see any differences. You would only see in a narrow hole, like just pull apart, just push apart, and just go
And explore.
explore.
And solve a
Yes,
mystery.
yes, and you would see a
Challenge
lot more,
yourself,
and it's
yes.
so beautiful.
Passion or money?
Passion.
Any book recommendation you have?
My all-time favorite books been by Dan Brown. Probably read all of his books, and like Angel and Demon, Da Vinci Code,
Yeah.
The Deception Point, So,
So
yeah,
his books are
amazing. I love
amazing,
his
and you
style
love.
of writing, and I think that if I ever become a writer myself, that would be the style that I would probably write as well, just because when I say style, his style is more like kind of combination of like fiction and nonfiction,
I see.
and also based on research. It's nonfiction part is based on research, so it's more a little bit more educational if somebody wants to read books, and you kind of gain a lot of knowledge as well.
I see. Was there any question that you wished I asked you? Something that you wish you could share with the audience?
Yeah, so a lot of the kids that I see has brought up with families who have immigrated, and
Yes.
their kids has been confused. It's just because when they go out of their home, they're American, they come home, they have to integrate it with their own culture, which I've seen like struggles, and I've seen like challenges.
What would be one advice that you would give to those parents, just top of your head?
Yes, my advice for the parents is to just explore and to integrate with different cultures, and to be able to get exposure. Because right now, when they're so attached or to latch on to their own values or to what they have brought in, and they think that's the best thing for them, it's like a comfort zone, right? And then they close their eyes about like wanting to see like anything else. Now they're not able to see their own kids anymore, because when the kids are bringing home like something a little different or something that is new, they're afraid of like change and like
Yes.
something
This is
new.
uncomfortable because
Yes,
that's the only thing that is different
yes,
versus the kid is already out. It is already being exposed, right?
right,
Do I
right.
get that?
Yes, so again, like, so this, when you said like, now how do you make them understand, the mutual understanding, like, so
Yeah.
that the parents would understand the kids and the kids would be able to understand the parents.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
the
easy.
no, it's
It's
not. I
not.
was gonna say that can be a whole new conversation. And
Absolutely.
it's very case
Yes.
by case, it's
Right.
very different. That's a great thing that you bring up. On the other end of this is the kids, right? What would be one suggestion that you would give to the kids of these parents?
For the kids, it's a little bit harder than the parents because the maturity, right? So the expectation for me is to work on the parents rather than working on the kids. Although like the kids could be very well trained, very well shaped, but they're not mature enough to understand a lot more. So the parents are the one that they're mature enough to understand. So, and it's not like you have to shape them now. You have to make them understand.
Yes, it's just creating awareness. It's creating
Right.
options and awareness.
Right.
But no, that was very valuable. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your time and
Absolutely.
sharing this amazing story that you had. I knew you for some time, but I truly didn't know this much detail about your immigration story, the hardships that you face, and how you overcame them. That, I have to say, it makes me respect you a ton more, because I viewed you as someone that was driven, but now I'm just blown away by what you have done, what you have overcome. And I'm truly honored to be here right now.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to me and hear my story. And actually, it's one of those things that there's been time that I wanted to write a book, and I have so many stories, and there's a lot of details. Every situation I have a story.
Yes. You are such an amazing storyteller, and we cannot wait for this book to be written and to be shared with us. And I'm sure now the audience would want to know a lot more, and maybe that would give you that motivation and that push
Yeah,
to, you
I
know,
need that.
to write that, because you shared just a tiny bit of it and it was
Right.
amazing. I cannot wait to hear and see the whole story. Thank you again, and I'm really looking forward to reading your book.
Thank you.
Today, you listen to Salma's endless struggles through early adulthood as an immigrant, which made her into the strong, courageous, successful woman she is today. Does that make you look at your struggles differently? Wasn't her determination inspiring? Did she offer you a key to open a new door for yourself? I hope it did. For more stories like Salma's, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because you don't want to miss my interview with another accomplished immigrant. Next week, my guest is from Hong Kong, and he's an incredibly smart and seasoned VP. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Empowering Conversations.